So today we're starting off this morning with a little bit of lingering showers hanging on, and frankly we're going to be seeing some more rain chances for the week ahead, but temperatures going to be all over the place, as you'll see here in a moment. So some of the highlights that we're working on: a weak front bringing some lingering showers, particularly to our northern counties overnight. We'll see the passage of a cold front on Tuesday that kind of washes out over us, really weakens. So it's looking like a mainly dry passage of that front, although a few sprinkles can't be ruled out with that. Mild temperatures going to arrive for the middle of the week, and then a shot of colder air and another chance for some more widespread rain going to be possible for the middle of the week, and that much colder air mass moving in to round out the work week and head into the weekend. So temperatures frankly all over the place, a bit of a roller coaster here. On the marine side of things, we do have some small craft advisories going on today in the Atlantic waters and also in the upper bay, not particularly for the strong wind side of things. Winds are relatively normal, but it's for high seas, 5 to 6 foot seas. Additional advisories likely for Wednesday's cold front as we see some gusty winds with that arrival. So here we are visually taking a look at the weather pattern here in the fronts. You'll see today we're in the warm sector in between the warm front with the colder air that will arrive later this week. We'll see a few chances for rain over the next few days, and then middle of the week you see the Wednesday weather pattern. A system diving out of the Great Lakes, kind of converging with this system in the middle of the country here, and then we'll be seeing some additional rain chances. That colder air does arrive for the end of the week, and then we'll finally see some drying out and much colder air but clearer skies heading into the second half of the weekend as high pressure builds in the area. So what we're looking at, again, a few different rounds of rain chances, but even so not adding up to much. I don't see this being a problem in terms of heavy rainfall by any means. So rain chances here in our area going to be anywhere from about 1/10 of an inch up to 1/4 of an inch at best. And this is through Thursday morning. Now we do have another chance for maybe some flurries in the western part of the state that we're tracking for systems arrival come Thursday night into Friday, and we are going to keep a close eye on how that forecast may change as we get to the end part of the week, but really we're looking at rain for our area here. Taking a step back and looking at the bigger picture here, you'll see our precip chances Monday through Wednesday going to be even statewide, maybe a little bit heavier in the western part of the state, but here in the Wakefield area, we're looking at just that 1/10 of an inch up to 1/4 of an inch. The Thursday through Sunday time period, really not much to speak of as we have a pretty weak system arriving for Friday, but you notice some precip chances in the West Virginia and western part of the state, and that's that Thursday through Sunday time period. So what we're looking at is not a drought buster by any means. It's not going to be enough to put a dent in our drought conditions, but we will take a look at our drought monitor status in a few slides. Temperature profile, as I mentioned, all over the place. We see today temperatures going to top out in the 50s to maybe a few 60s. Elizabeth City 65, Edenton 64, Deltaville 65. A warm nose of air pushes in Wednesday or Tuesday and Wednesday. You'll see highs in a few locations hitting the low 70s. And then we start to moderate, get a bit back closer to normal. Highs this time of the year should be in the low 50s, and that's what we're going to be really seeing pretty closely to Thursday and Friday. And then you see where that cold front arrives. Friday, that shot of air moves in after the cold front moves through, and then Saturday, Sunday, we really start to see some pretty cold air setting in. Highs Saturday only in the upper 30s in a few spots and low 40s, and then Sunday even colder with highs in the 30s. Overnight lows, of course, going to be much colder than that. Now, lucky for us, we're really not looking at a big amount of precip, so we don't have concerns of, rain during the day and freezing or anything like that once we see this cold air. So that is certainly some good news. And here are our probability of precips for the area. Again, today we have some lingering showers. Tuesday, mainly a dry passage with that front, not much to speak of in terms of rainfall. Wednesday should be pretty dry until the evening, and then we see widespread rainfall Wednesday night into Thursday. So that's the pattern that we're looking at. And now on the marine side of things, again, we do have a small craft advisory for our Atlantic waters, and it's really due to the high seas, 5 to 6 foot waves possible. Now, the likelihood of wind gusts in the 25 knot range or higher is relatively low. We're looking at about 10 to 40% chance for that. And then you see likelihood of gusts any higher than 34 knots is definitely not going to be a possibility as we get into the next few days. This is through Wednesday. And our marine threat risk for today is pretty limited as our wind gusts are not terribly high. Greater than or equal to 20 knots is going to be in the bay and maybe the rivers, and waves up to 4 feet or so. You'll notice on the Atlantic waters, slightly elevated with wind gusts greater than 25 knots possible. And things are relatively quiet for the middle of the week. Again, Tuesday, we don't have much to speak of, but then when we get into Wednesday night, the passage of that cold front into Thursday and Friday, we see that slightly elevated risk for wind gusts greater than 25 knots and waves higher than 5 feet. Here's a closer look at our max wind gusts through Thursday. Again, on our waters, max gusts upper 20s to low 30 knot range, and then the Atlantic waters, once we get away from land and see less friction there, they'll be a little bit higher, but still in the 30 knot range. In terms of wave heights, again, in the bay, about 4 to 5 feet, and then immediate coast we'll see about the same, and then when you get out into the Atlantic, about 5 to 7 foot waves. You'll see our wind gusts staying pretty low today. That's not really a factor. Tuesday start to ramp up into the 15 to 20 knot range. Wednesday, not too bad. And then the passage of that cold front Thursday does bring some gusty winds, particularly with that passage. And then that's not going to help when the cold air rolls in after that front. It's definitely going to be pretty chilly. Wave height forecast we already kind of went over, but you'll see that the wave heights really do increase again with that increased wind on Thursday with that cold front moving through. In terms of the drought, now the U.S. Drought Monitor is updated once a week on Thursdays, and the cutoff for that is usually on Tuesdays. So because of the data cutoff and the rain happening on Wednesday of last week, unfortunately, this last week's drought did not capture the all-day rain that we saw. So we'll have to wait for the next iteration of this to come out on Thursday for that to have captured the rain that we did see last week. So hopefully it put a bit of a dent, but again, you know, Northern Neck and especially the, you know, Middle Peninsula and the Cape Delmarva Peninsula in that severe drought and even extreme drought for some locations. So hopefully it helped, but we have a long ways to go to dig out of this drought that some of us are seeing. Looking ahead to the outlook, this is good for just a few days leading up to Christmas, December 21st through the 25th. We're looking at, generally speaking, colder than normal air and also less precip than normal. So average highs in the Richmond area around 50 degrees. We can expect it to be colder than that leading up to Christmas. So we'll get the cold air, but maybe not the white Christmas this year. And pending any questions, we'll hang around in the chat, but thanks for joining us today.